views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Voices of Women is a talk radio show that gives voice to the personal stories of women. It will inspire women and enlighten men to follow their dreams and create positive changes in their lives. Whether the audience listens to best-selling authors or a layperson like themselves, they'll realize there are others with similar experiences and feelings to their own. This show will give women tools they can use every day, which will empower them to step out of their boxes and create the changes they desire in their life. Kris inspires women to find their voices, speak up, and become leaders of their own life. Everyone has their gifts to share with the world, and it's time for women to work together to bring honor and respect to the feminine voice, which is within all people, men and women. Topics include personal growth, spirituality, creativity, leadership, and divine feminine. Now here's your host, Kris Steinnes.
Well, welcome to Voices of Women on this lovely Friday. I think we're all very excited that we only have a few more days of election before the election. And so Tuesday's going to be a very interesting day. And I just hope everybody really gets out there and vote. That's all I got to say. I'm excited. I've been announcing when the Women of Wisdom Conference is live now on our website. You can see all the events. You can register. Just go to womenofwisdom.org and look for the 2017 conference link. It's unbelievable. It's our 25th year. And we're bringing back many of our presenters from over the years. I mean, some go back to, 1998, 99. They're all going to seem new because many people haven't seen them in quite a while. And then there are new people who are brand new this year. And it's a lovely lineup. I am very excited. We also have early bird specials for some of our featured guests. You're going to want to look at that because there's a December 1st and a December 31st deadline for some of those, such as Caroline Muir, who's the author of Tantra, The Art of Conscious Loving. She's been on my show. I've interviewed her. And also Nikki Scully and Normandy Ellis, who have also been on the show. I've interviewed them many times, and they are doing a 2-day intensive. And then there's other featured guests that will be having specials through December 31st. There's also weekend packages. And just so you know, this is a conference. You don't have to go the whole weekend. You can go to one event, or you can go 2 or 3, or you can go something every day, but you can create your own package, your own experience. And you're still part of the conference. It's very intimate and all-inclusive feeling. So come to Seattle in February 16th through the 20th. So I'm now interviewing presenters that are going to be our lineup at the conference. And this show, I have 2, and we're going to start with Colleen Haggerty. She is presenting a workshop on Saturday, February 18th, and it's called Empowering Through Forgiveness. Colleen Haggerty is the author of her memoir, A Leg to Stand On, which is the story of forgiving the man who caused the amputation of her leg. Colleen is a dynamic speaker and shared her story of forgiveness as a TEDx speaker in Bellingham, Washington. Colleen leads workshops in self-empowerment and leadership at the local community college. She's executive director at Our Treehouse, a nonprofit that provides support to children and families grieving a death. And you can read more about her at her website. It's ColleenHaggerty.com. And it's Haggerty. Well, welcome, Colleen.
Thank you so much for having me, Kris.
Yes. Well, first, I want people to start off with their story. So tell us about why you wrote the memoir, A Leg to Stand On, and what that story is about.
Well, I wrote my memoir when my first child was young, and I was having a hard time. I had been an amputee for about 20 years before I had my child, but pregnancy really changed my physical body and made me feel disabled really for the first time in those 20 years after losing my leg. So writing was really a way for me to work out the challenges of being a disabled woman and a disabled mom. So I initially wrote because I wanted my children to have an account of my story, and it grew and grew, and it took many years to write, but by the end I was quite pleased with it.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's also a story of forgiveness.
So yes, there's a strong thread in that story that is about forgiving the man who caused my amputation. And that story started in my early 30s and is really continuing now. I still see him. We still talk. But it was a story that started when I lost my leg at 17, and I spent about 15 years just full of resentment and bitterness and anger towards him. And he became very stagnant. He became that person on the highway who hurt me. And that's all he was for 15 years, was that one person. And I just finally had it. And after about 15 years, I contacted him, and that started our story of forgiveness. Yeah. So that's a big part of the book. Yes.
Yes. And so that is your inspiration for doing this work on forgiveness and passing it on to other people too.
Absolutely. Forgiving Harvey, the man who hit me, was one time when I've forgiven someone. But there's certainly been plenty of other times in my life where there's been some pretty major transgressions. And I've adapted and adopted the same tools that I used when I forgave Harvey to these experiences. And so, yes, the story of Harvey is part of the inspiration. But, I would say that another part of the inspiration was that such a transformative time for me where I was a mom of 2 young children. And I just thought the world was just all of a sudden so crazy. And I was just seeing so clearly that I was raising children in this world. And so it's like, what can I do? What can I possibly do? And over the years, I've just felt this intense need to bear my own responsibility and to share with others how they can take their own responsibility. And it's really these small steps that we can each take within our own hearts to make the world a better place by being the best people we can be. Carrying around resentment, bitterness, anger toward others or oneself is not being the best that we can be. And when I really crystallized that and wrote about that and understood what that experience of forgiveness was, I wanted to share it with others.
Yes, and it's also, and what you're saying, because this was a long process, it does take time. It is a process to go through it. And it's also more of a state of mind than an actual action of my feeling of it.
I agree. I think so too. And I think it's also, sometimes with some transgressions, it's a daily choice to forgive and to continue to forgive and to forgive on different levels. And, I can still think of Harvey when my leg is hard to fit or I have to get a new leg and, like, why did he do that? Why did he make such poor decisions? It's like, bless him, bless me, bless this moment. Let's move on, and kind of recalibrating myself back to that place in myself where I don't want to live with resentment. But yes, it's a process, and I think it's a daily act.
Mm-hmm. And useful in many, many. We hold on to things, even little things that, it's amazing what we hold on to when you think about it. The little resentments and that we don't let go of, it's kind of a control issue of like, this is mine and I'm going to feel this. And it, and I think you'd agree that who it hurts the most is ourselves.
Absolutely. We're really creating a prison around our own heart, I think, when we hold on to those resentments. I mean, it can even be driving in the car, right? And somebody takes your parking spot or something. And, how do we respond to that? And when we're acting as a victim, I think it really makes us, when we hold on to resentments, I really think it increases our victim mentality. Like, the world is happening to me, and it makes us feel like we're out of control. We don't have choices. But when we take control and when we realize we can cultivate this, I call it an attitude of forgiveness that I carry with me daily. Not that I do every moment of every day, but if I'm in that attitude of forgiveness, someone can cut me off in traffic, and I go to the place of, oh, what's going on with you? You know, either you're just being a spacey person, and okay, I've been there too, so I'll forgive you, or you're having a hard day. Hey, I've been there too. I can forgive. You know, there's just this attitude. I think that if we carry that, the world really opens up, and we're happier people.
Well, and when you said that, it makes me think of how we think it's all about us. Like, they did this to me. You know, they cut in front of me. They cut in front of me in the line at the grocery store. They did this to me. And they may have just been unconsciously often, or having a bad day themselves, or just had something horrible happen to them, and they're not even thinking, and was not intentional towards you. Sometimes there are bad drivers out there, yeah, but, you know, we can't second guess, like, you know, project that it's about us. And that's, so having that state of mind, as you said, is important, of allowing that to just be and letting it go.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I really don't think many people wake up and say, you know, how many people can I really piss off today? You know, I think we're all waking up thinking, I'm going to try and be the best person I can be today, you know, or at least we're in a neutral place. But I don't think many people are going out there like, okay, I think I'm going to go screw that person over and that person, you know. Like, I think we're all doing the best we can, really. And sometimes, yeah, we're spacey, or we're just having a bad day, and it's not about us. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a reflection of us, too. If stuff's happening, sometimes you have to look at what's going on inside yourself, because it's maybe telling you something. Well, we have to take a break now. We're going to take a short break, and we'll come back and talk more with Colleen Haggerty about forgiveness.
Are you sick of feeling overworked with no motivation? Take a break from the daily grind. Life coach Nicole Eisler is here to provide a healing journey of optimism. Passionate and caring, Nicole is no ordinary soul. Her dedication to helping everyone has no limit. Witness the power of positivity. Tune in every first and third Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific for Positivity Party Radio with Nicole Eisler on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit BigDreamAwakening.com.
Do you want to achieve your goals? Do you want to strengthen relationships with others? Do you want to improve your financial status? Colette Marie Steffen is partnering with Mark Kettenbach to bring you an energetic upgrade online experience. Unfold and develop your full potential. Visit energeticupgrade.com today for more information. That's energeticupgrade.com.
Beyond being this amazing neurologist, inventor, author, Dr. Dan Cohen has been called to look at technology and look at personal and spiritual development and merge these together. As technology uses the healing and psychospiritual effects of synchronized sounds, vibrations, electromagnetic fields, and how that interacts with us in our nervous system in what we're calling the Soul Tech chair.
The Soul Tech Lounge induces profound levels of relaxation that transition over time into deep meditative states. The synchronized sound, vibration, and magnetic field induce these states. The subject doesn't have to work at it.
To learn more, go to soultechwellbeing.com. That's SOLTEC Wellbeing.
Kris Steinnes is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Tune in to The Michael Shane Show the third Tuesday of each month at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com and connect with the ascended beings to raise your vibration and manifest the life you desire. Get ready to receive healing through the transphysical mediumship of Reverend Michael Shane and the ascended beings. Visit MichaelShane.com. That's MyChael, Shane.com, and call 425-971-6632 to schedule your full healing session now.
Welcome back to Voices of Women. This is Kris Steinnes, and I'm with our Woman Wisdom presenter, Colleen Haggerty. Colleen, can you give your website information and maybe just a little bit about, what's there for people or what work you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my website is www.colleenhaggerty.com, and Haggerty is Haggerty. And on there you can find information about speaking. I do public speaking. I also do coaching. And I do leadership classes at local community college, but I certainly can do any of those topics anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I do writings.
Do what?
I write, and so I have my memoir on there, and I've been in 4 anthologies, so those are on there as well.
Okay, great. I had something cut out, and I didn't hear that. Okay, so we've been talking about forgiveness. Let's go a little more in depth of how you define forgiveness.
It's so hard to find forgiveness anymore because we really, as a culture, have one view of it, I think, and that's letting him off or, condoning what someone did. And while forgiveness is not completely synonymous with acceptance, there is a huge acceptance piece in what I consider forgiveness to be. Forgiveness is about the first thing one has to do is just accept that it happened. And sometimes for us, forgiveness is so hard because we don't even want to accept what happened. So that we just still in a place of, I don't want that. I want to change the past. Right? That it's so hard to accept it. But once we accept what happened as just what was, that's one of the first steps in moving forward. Mm-hmm. So really what I talk about is for forgiveness. It's our only word, and I just wish that we had like a gazillion of them, the way the Inuits do for the word snow, because there's so many levels to this. Really, this acceptance and owning and responsibility and choice and compassion. Compassion is a huge part of forgiveness towards self and others.
It makes me think when you were talking that it's like if you're hanging on to these things and resenting and you're living in the past. You're not moving forward, and you're not being present, and you can't change it. It happened.
Exactly. Before I forgave Harvey, I looked on the outside like I was just moving forward. And in many ways I was, of course, in my life. But I kept going back to that day. Every night before bed, I went back to that day and, had a little nightmare about it every night. And I tell you, after I forgave Harvey, that's when I met my husband. And I was in my, early 30s and had always wanted to find someone to spend my life with and have a family with. But it wasn't until I met Harvey that I met my husband. I had phantom pain every day, multiple times a day before I met Harvey. And for the 2 weeks after I met Harvey, I had no phantom pain for those 2 weeks. It was unbelievable. But my life moved forward. Doors started to open when I let go of the resentment and anger I had toward him. So yes, it was a prison of keeping me in the past. Good point.
Yeah, well, that's a powerful story too to share. It's like, going to bed every night with that, and the fact that the phantom pain went away. When you met him, that you can see how your body reacts to our thoughts and our emotions, and it affects us physically as well.
Well, resentment and bitterness, I mean, they're doing a lot of research about this now. Fred Luskin at Stanford has done a number of studies on the impacts of forgiveness, and his research shows that there is a psychological benefit, a benefit to our relationships, and certainly benefit to our physical health. It can, when we let go of resentment, when we let go of anger and bitterness, and those feelings of revenge, the need for revenge and plotting, when we stop constantly going back to the past, our blood pressure actually decreases. I mean, when you think about it, every time I went back to the accident, I'm revisiting trauma, which puts my body, when my primitive brain gets activated like that, it puts my body in stress. And the adrenal glands are activated, my blood pressure goes up, my heart races. So that just isn't a good thing for us to do to our body. So there's all sorts of physical and emotional benefits to going through the process of releasing these negative feelings.
So what do you recommend people do? I mean, you had a very traumatic experience, and there's other people out there who probably listening can relate to that. What do you teach them to do?
Well, I'm such a believer in baby steps. I mean, it's how I learned how to walk again, and baby steps is a way for us to really, I think, be very self-compassionate and compassionate to others, and also gives us a sense of accomplishment because we can accomplish something that feels really hard, in small increments. So I believe in baby steps, but I also, in the workshop that I'll be doing at Women of Wisdom, I talk about the different pieces that we have to do. I mean, first we have to even look at the story. We have to own the story. We have to tell the story, whatever it may be, whatever that story is, because we're stuck in that story. And the story is so important. And I'm not saying that we let go of it, but we own it, actually. And then we have to go through feelings. And I had such a hard time really owning the grief. I forged ahead, like, I was going to prove to the world that this wasn't going to, stop me. I was going to be an awesome amputee, and I was. But I certainly wasn't grieving. I was not grieving the loss that I had that day. But once I grieved, once I really, and that's just a multitude of emotions right there, right? Once I did that, I could move on. And so, owning your story, accepting and being with the feelings, and going through a practice of perspective. It's really important to have multiple perspectives on the one story. And there's a variety of ways that people can do that. And then finding ways to let go. We're just, our hands are clenched around those feelings of bitterness or revenge or unfairness or whatever it is, fill in the blank. And, when we open our hand and allow those feelings to go away and recognizing that we have a choice in that, we actually feel really empowered. Oh my God, I felt so empowered when I forgave Harvey. I mean, it wasn't just a aha moment that I did have this meeting with him. I was really conflicted during the meeting, but when I got home, I realized I have a choice here. I can either keep living the way I've been living for 15 years and make him the bad guy in all this, or I can see his humanity. I can let this go. And he's still the person at fault. Yeah, I'm still not happy that it happened. But boy, I can let these feelings go. And it was just, I felt like she-woman, like Amazon was just like, whoa, I am her. Wow. I just was flying. I was on cloud nine for a very long time.
So I have a question to ask you because you contacted him. What was his reaction to you contacting him, and what was his experience or reaction, having that meeting with him?
Well, his experience when I initially contacted him was, he was apologetic. I was very fortunate in that there was reconciliation, which is different than forgiveness, very different. He and I were able to have a conversation. So our first phone call, he was crying and apologizing, and I just didn't even realize how much I needed that. Our meeting, when we actually met, I did not even consider that he had his side of the story to tell. We had even gone through the court proceedings, and honestly, I remember about 20 minutes of that whole week. I was just blocking it out. So when I met him, I heard his story for the first time. And while I still don't even like a lot of his story or don't agree with some of his decisions he made that day that caused the loss of my leg, it's his story. And it was his decisions in the moment as a 21-year-old young man. Bad decisions? Well, maybe, but there they are. So I gotta see, wow, there's a whole different perspective here. A whole different perspective.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you were lucky. I mean, somebody else might have a totally different kind of reaction to someone calling them up 15 years later and wanting to talk. I mean, because everybody's so individual in that. And
yes.
Do you think he forgave himself?
That is still a process for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think that forgiving oneself can be far harder than forgiving another, because we're living inside ourselves and we can't escape ourselves. Whereas I could still go backpacking and skydiving and skiing and forget about Harvey and forget about, all my feelings of anger and resentment. But when you're the person who has done something that has hurt another person, it's very hard to let go of that, and just to not always have that be with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, Colleen, and being on the show today.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for having me, Kris.
Yeah, and so everybody can check out her workshop at Women of Wisdom. It's Saturday, February 18th, and Powering Through Forgiveness. And you see the powerfulness of her story and how powerful it is to go through this forgiving process. So I encourage people to check that out. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and talk to another presenter, Starfeather, about drumming.
Join in on one of the most life-transforming adventures in personal expansion and world service. In each of our upcoming shows, you're going to have the opportunity to join thousands as we focus healing energy to elevate and balance our world. This is a chance for like-minded individuals like you and I to join forces with light workers all over the globe as we light the way for peace, harmony, and a world driven by love. You'll also learn about magical innate abilities that you can develop and use to make your dreams come true. Joy Elaine, author of The Joy Chronicles, invites you to join her and millions of others working with the Galactic Masters, Angels, and the Ashtar Command as they assist humanity and planet Earth to achieve their ultimate destination of ascension. For more information, visit joyelaine.com. That's joy, ELAINE.com.
Kris Steinnes is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Are you feeling stagnant or blocked in your love life, career, health, or finances? Experiencing difficulty focusing or setting and achieving goals? Tune in to Spiritual Diagnostics Radio with psychic visionary healers Carol Dorian and Suzanne Evans. Discover the cause and effect of unwanted patterns in life. Tune in every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit spiritualdeed.com.
Are you ready to stop stress, anxiety, and low self-esteem from running your life? Join award-winning author Dr. Friedemann Schaub for Empowerment Radio and learn breakthrough solutions to switch out of survival mode and approach every day with great ease, joy, and purpose. Tune in the first and third Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific to Empowerment Radio with host Dr. Friedemann Schaub on Transformation Talk Radio. Visit thefearandanxietysolution.com to learn more.
Dr. Bree Gibbs is a fourth-generation high priestess with the knowledge to raise your vibration in conscious creation, offering a wide variety of services from goddess light and shamanic healing seminars to private reading sessions. Bree works with you so you too can stand in your own power. Isn't it about time you took your life into your own hands? For more information about Bree's services and products, visit silvergaia.net. That's silver, Gaia.net.
Welcome back to Voices of Women. This is Kris Steinnes, and I'm speaking with another of our Woman Wisdom presenters. Her name is Starfeather Marcy. Starfeather is a medicine woman living and teaching the sacred path through visionary art, women's circles, drumming, and energy healing. She's been doing this for over 30 years. She's been instructing many, many people in drum making, has been a facilitator of hundreds of sacred circles where drumming is an integral part of the experience. Starfeather's goal is to bring self-empowerment to women through art, craft, healing, and the reestablishment of the love of the sisterhood among all women. She's the founder of the Medicine Women's Mentoring Circle in Edmonds, Washington, which is right near Seattle. And her website is www.shimmeringpath.com. So I don't know how many years, it's been a few years now, Starfeather has been doing a drum making workshop. It's drum making and ceremony. It's going to be Sunday, February 19th. It's actually Sunday night. We have workshops open to men, so men can attend this workshop. And it's a very powerful experience. So we're going to be talking about drums and circles and empowering women and everything today with Starfeather. So welcome, Starfeather.
Oh, thank you so much. It's great to talk with you again. I'm always happy to speak with you, especially about empowering women and drum making.
Yes.
My favorites.
Well, we were just talking before you came on the air how you have been at Women of Wisdom. We're not sure the exact year, 1995 or, one of our early ones.
Yes. I feel very privileged, really, to be part of the conference for a long time, returning again and again. I've done a few things besides drum making, but I always come back to drum making, which is my very top favorite thing to do. And we always say with women, but it's really great to do with men too, and for a couple to do together, it's an awesome experience to make their own drums together.
Yeah, and tell us about that, because you do this, in ceremony. How is it, because drum making, it's an action of, I made a drum at a conference down in California one time of, drilling the hole, stretching the hide, putting it on a frame, doing all these things, but you're doing it in a ceremonial way. So how is that different?
Well, it's different in that we really take time to say prayers and set our intention for why we're making the drum, and then also to really honor the materials, because we're working with the skin of an animal, the elk, which gave its life so that we could have that drum. So that's very precious. Plus the wood for the frame, which is a maple tree that's been cut, and the beautiful materials that we work with also for making the drum beater, deer skin, and sticks from the forest. So all these things are things of nature, and we just have to pause and give great gratitude that we have these materials.
Yeah.
And also the other thing to say about that too is that when we make a drum, it's not like a toy. It's like calling in an ally or a companion that is going to help you and work with you on your spiritual path. So it's a very special instrument, and a lot of people feel that we call in the spirit of the drum, a special energy that comes to really help you develop your voice, speak your prayers, make connections with other people in ceremony. And so the whole thing is a very special and unique kind of workshop that's why we make it into a ceremony.
Yes, and I know it's very powerful. You've done it the last 2-3 years, and I know I talked to people afterwards, and they were so excited with their drum. And there is connection, and each drum has a different sound. Like I love my drum. I love the sound of it. When I beat it, I'm just, it does feel like an extension of me. And yeah.
I think the thing with the drum is, I know for me too, is if I feel out of sorts or I'm sad about something, I just have to pick up my drum. And of course, if I can go outside and be in nature, that's the best. But even in my own bedroom, for example, I can pick up my drum and just play it a little bit. It helps to bring me to calmness. It brings me to center and helps me to, really come back in balance so that I can continue on in a good way. So it's called a medicine drum for a reason, and that is because it is there to help us, and it does. It's amazing, the connections that are made with our drums, always. It never fails. Beautiful.
Yeah, yes, and you said something that was important, too, about being outside in nature, because it's kind of, and too, there's an element of calling the spirits in. Some people use it to call in the ancestors, or maybe the spirits of the trees or the birds, or tell us your experience in that.
Well, I think that what happens there is that a lot of times we feel separate, and we're sort of spinning it like a top. We're spinning fast and kind of out of sync with the slower rhythm of nature. And so when we step into that place of wanting to connect, and we play the drum, we might play the heartbeat that really connects us to the earth, and we just slow right down, and then we connect into that sacred web of life, and we become more conscious of that. So we're one with it. We're one with the trees and the birds and the water, or wherever it is we're standing. We connect in with the ground and the earth, the rocks and everything. So it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful way to pray. And then a lot of times, too, songs just kind of emerge from within us, songs that we might have learned at one point, or just vocalizing. I don't mean to say just, because vocalizing to me is extremely powerful, and that's bringing our soul's voice forward. So the drum, it really helps us do that.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned a good point, too, about it grounding us. If we're feeling off-centered for some days, we have those days, to have that drum to, like you said, and you mentioned heartbeat, to take us back to our heartbeat, take us back grounding to the earth. Right. Come back out, you come away from that going more centered and ready to start the day again, in a new step, perhaps.
Yes, absolutely. And I just feel that a lot of times we, in our culture, we seem to just be pushing forward, push so hard and so fast to go here, go there, we're caught in traffic jams and so much, worrying about child care for a parent, how are we going to fit everything in and do this and do that. So if we could just sort of step out of that whole drama of all that stuff, and then just take 5 minutes, to come back to that place, drum for a little bit of time, breathe deeper, and realize that, I'm a part of this whole beautiful earth connection, and I'm not separate from it. That's very heartwarming and comforting,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, another aspect, and we talked about in the beginning of, because you work with women a lot in circles, and so let's talk about that connection of women and circles and drumming.
Okay. Well, women, it doesn't take us long to realize that we are what I like to call soul sisters. So when we come together and we sit in a circle and we connect in that way, where we put our our ego aside, and we just come to be fully present in our deeper self, without the need to impress anybody or make anything happen, but we're there in our truth. And then the drum, I always have extra drums when I have people come together so that everybody can have a drum or a rattle. And then without needing to talk at all, we just start to drum, and that it's like this amazing weaving happens, and we become a cohesive group, and then we link up, so to speak, so that we bypass things that might have separated us at some point, and we come more deeply to the honest place of being women on a path of sacredness, and that we are whole and beautiful, and we can share from that place then. So we drum. We might sing some, might share a prayer where everybody participates, and then we just pass a talking stick where each person gets a chance to share a little bit of her story, and before long we realize we're all part of the same story, and we can help each other and support each other and not feel alone.
Mm-hmm. So that brings me to the topic of community building, because, coming together there, a group of women, and you're drumming, and the drum playing a role in that, of bringing people together in community.
Yes, absolutely. I think because people have been, I think for some reason in our culture too, a lot of people have been hurt as far as their ability to create sound and music, through thinking that that's for just special people. So we're all special people, and we all have that ability. And so when we just we sort of get fed by that ability that just arises within us. Anybody can drum. Everybody can participate in that equally, and you don't have to know anything or be better than anybody or have taken classes or anything like that. It's just within all of us. Mm-hmm. So that is a beautiful way for all of us to come together and do that community building, and it's a great way, absolutely.
Yes, and you don't have to be musically inclined. You don't have to know how beats. You just it's just a very individual thing of beats, and everybody's beat is different, and it blends together for an orchestra. Well, we're going to take a quick break now, and we'll come back and talk more about drumming and with Starfeather.
Dr. Bree Gibbs is a fourth-generation high priestess with the knowledge to raise your vibration in conscious creation, offering a wide variety of services from goddess light and shamanic healing seminars to private reading sessions. Bree works with you so you too can stand in your own power. Isn't it about time you took your life into your own hands? For more information about Bree's services and products, visit silvergaia.net. That's silvergaia.net.
Kris Steinnes is a spiritual leader and healer, and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Sky Siegel co-hosts one of today's most popular psychic shows, Angels and Answers, with Artie Hoffman, as she communicates healing messages from the spirit world. These messages can be astounding, enlightening, and life-changing. Born with the God-given talent of inner guidance and the amazing ability to heal, Sky has healed thousands of people. Schedule a reading with Sky now. Call 908-500-1474 and visit skyofangels.com.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
Get into it for 2016. Do you want more prosperity, clarity, energy, and balance in your life? Join Lynn Brown now for one of her amazing workshops, each focusing on a key part of living your best life. For more information and to register for one of these amazing workshops, visit lynnbrownevent.com. That's lynnbrownevent.com. And get into it this 2016 with Lynn Brown.
Hi, this is Leslie Fontaine, and my show is Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com. When we're bogged down with our emotions, the hardships that plague us in our relationships, at work, our finances, we literally can't see the higher plane where we could be operating from. Tune in to Leslie Fontaine, Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Welcome back to Voices of Women, and I'm talking with Starfeather, who's one of our workshop presenters at the Women of Wisdom Conference, which is February 16th to the 20th. Check everything out at womenofwisdom.org. And Starfeather, how about you giving your website address and what people might find there about your work and things?
Okay, thanks. So my website is shimmeringpaths.com. And I'm a healer. I do energy healing as well as different crafting workshops and drum making and retreats for women. So I'm really about sacred art and working through our hands to make our beauty visible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we were talking about building community and through the drum, making use of the drum to build community. And I had a thought, too, of how that might be used for social change. I mean, we're kind of in a very transitory time right now, and people are going through a lot of stuff. And how might it be helpful to, as a group, or if you're in a community group or you're in an organization or a social action group, how the drum might bring about change?
Well, it certainly can be used as a way to, like, if people are marching or something, if people have a drum, and it's sound and getting a whole bunch of people to sync in with the same rhythm. That's a very powerful way to stay together and hold the power of what it is you're protesting or intending, and so it can be used in that way. It also can be used as a way to really release frustration and anger and just let it rip on your drum. And that way, it's a way to process some of those feelings that you just don't know where to go with that, because nobody wants to become violent with their anger. So it's just a way to say, yes, I feel angry, and so I'm just going to drum that out, and then pretty soon that feeling does release, and then you can come back to a more calm, centered place with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I'm just thinking of it. I bet there's a lot of drumming going on in North Dakota with all the people that are there.
Totally. I'm very sure there is. And, of course, they have their ancestral songs to sing as they drum, and their prayer songs. So that's a very important piece of what's helping them stay in alignment with their cause and not get swayed into, really negative action, and still stay in their passion. So I really appreciate some of those amazing prayers and ceremonies and circles that they're doing with their drums there. Bless those people so much.
Yeah, and I wonder, it just made me think of in doing, even if it's just personal work and doing your drumming, that answers may come. If you do you ever drum for a question? Like you have a question or a problem or something you want to resolve in your life, or what's your next step forward? Do you ever drum for that purpose, and then the answers come to you later?
Well, there's a whole way to drum for journeying, where it's holding a fast beat, steady fast beat for quite an extended period of time, and that's sort of, your brain kind of doesn't really know what to do with that. So it's really great to have somebody drum for you if you want to do that. You place your question there, and then you have this drumming time for maybe 5 minutes where the steady beat is held, and you have your question out there, and it's amazing. It sort of opens a pathway then for Spirit to bring forth a response to your question, and it comes in on the wave of that beating of that drum, and then you know you have received some information either by a sound or a vision or just your intuition or feeling, in your heart that has clues you into what direction to go in. Just to say it's a very ancient way of using the drum to journey for connection to Spirit and get answers to questions.
Right, and something also occurred to me in that regard of, what we do, we have a drum circle, monthly drum circle, Woman of Wisdom, and we someone will start a beat and then people join in, and it's like different rounds, and then afterwards they'll do a round of 5 to 10 minutes, however long the energy takes it, and your mind is just allowed, you just kind of go places, and the sound goes places, and everybody's contribution, and then afterwards they do a talking circle and people sharing and what came up for them. And in that experience, particularly when we're in one setting and one building that we don't have anymore, but I would hear women chanting around us, and no one is singing. No one is there singing. But there'd be this sound. There'd be a sound of singing around us. It's like, so you're just kind of aware of energies of we're not alone,
Yes,
and that's always interesting too.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, the drum is so amazing, so it can be used in many ways in that shamanic way of asking for guidance through the power and the rhythm, the steady rhythm of a drum is an ancient way to shift energy and to connect with our guidance. So it's highly recommended. Yeah, especially to do in a group where you can, like you just said, you can share that experience and talk about it, because amazing things happen and can happen in a very short time with that process.
Mm-hmm. Now, one other aspect that I wanted to talk to you about, and it ties in with drum and community, is what it means to be an elder. You and I both are kind of elders in this community here, having worked with women for a long time. And what is our? You got 1 minute to share this, but what is this role that we need to be in, and you're stepping forward as being an elder?
Well, for me, it was it occurred to me suddenly that I really was. I'm older than 70, and it's like, wow, I really am an elder, and I really want to take my place to first of all acknowledge the beautiful life that I have and all the great things experiences that I've had, and the amazing teachers that I've had throughout my life, and that I've learned something. I'm proud of that, and I have made something of those teachings, and now my primary concern now is to pass these teachings on to others. So I'm very interested in helping the younger women who are coming down the same path, seeking, as I did, starting when I was in my 20s, seeking answers to the bigger questions in life. And I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have an older woman saying, yes, here. I did as far as books and workshops and things, but not in my regular life. So I want to say that's what we're here to do now, is really turn to the younger women coming along and say, yes, I support you. I love what you're doing. I want to nurture you and help you as best I can. And that's the role of the elder, I think.
Yes, well put. Yeah, it's very important, and it is our role, and it's important that's why it's important for us to be visible, so that young people know we're around for them, and to reach out, hold that hand out. That hey, we're here whenever you need a hand or a word of advice, or just supporting, just being there for them. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Starfeather.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, and we look forward to having you. We have more drums being built in February. That is Sunday, February 19th. And it's, again, open to men. Sunday night, all our workshops are open to men. All our evenings, we have 2 keynote talks, and we have a big concert Saturday night, and we have Sunday night workshops that are all open to men. So be sure to check out my guest workshops at the conference. Just go to womanofwisdom.org. We've got Colleen Haggerty doing Empowering Through Forgiveness, and Drum Making and Ceremony by Starfeather. So I'm Kris Steinnes, and I'm founder of Woman of Wisdom. Be sure to check out all that we're offering. February 16th through the 20th, visit womanofwisdom.org and look for, also be aware of our early bird pricing for a few of our featured guests. And all the offerings, there's a lot. We're a very experiential conference. Everything is minimally like a 3-hour workshop, so it gives you time to get to know people, to explore the topic that they're sharing. We got a lot of, there's art and movement and song and subject matter of, what's next for your life. It's a great place to come explore that. So check out my book also, Woman of Wisdom, Empowering the Dreams and Spirit of Women. It's a compilation of what woman wisdom is about, and it's got many, many different viewpoints of what the divine feminine is. And you can check that out on our website, womanofwisdom.org. Okay, so we're at the end of our show. I'm so glad to have been with you this week, and we look forward to having more Woman Wisdom guests in the future, and have a great weekend.
You've been listening to Voices of Women with Kris Steinnes. Tune in each Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Voices of Women Today, radio with Kris Steinnes.